Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Screaming, where we watch The Scream. My name is Bibbiani. This is Francis Maxwell. Alonzo is out of town at the moment, so we'll be following along in his stead. Episode 5, Season 2, Dawn of the Dead, which I assume it's called Dawn of the Dead because everyone's in a confined space and it's a pressure cooker, but honestly, it plays more like The Breakfast Club than anything
That's what
else.
I was going to say. Man.
Yeah.
Great minds think alike. Breakfast Club was the first thing I thought, and Lord of the Flies, which I love Audrey's reference to that at one point.
Yes. So basically, after the events of episode 4, we finally know that one of the 6 is dead, and all of the high school students are forced to hang out in the library. I guess only about like 24 people were at school that day. And while the sheriff interrogates everyone, figures out what's going on, they're investigating the lockers. Kieran brought a gun to school like a dumbass. So he has to go all Judd Nelson running around trying to get it back.
But it posed for one of the more interesting storylines is the sheriff with an alternative motive, who now played the nice guy. You come to work with me. We'll get you filing a few things. I'll keep an eye on you. Cops need to look out for their own. And Kieran's like, nah, I don't. I see through you. So
yeah, and then he does exactly what the sheriff wanted anyway.
So, but I have to agree with the sheriff. Like, how else is this guy going to figure this out? The previous sheriff tried to be Mr. Nice Guy, tried to go around with a certain protocol. Where did that get him? 6 feet under. So now we need to figure out that this sheriff needs to try and play the game the way he has to play in order to try and figure out who's the inside scoop. Because as far as he knows, or as far as we know, his intentions are pretty on point. He figures that someone in the group knows something, and we know that it's Audrey.
There is a horror movie trope, less so in television, but it exists there too, of the sheriff who doesn't believe the heroes because they're telling the truth.
Yeah.
Because the truth is so implausible. So when he gets the phone, and Emma is just like, and the killer put it in there, and it was really weird, and I didn't know what to do. And the sheriff's just like, well, yeah. Yeah, that would suck. Yeah, I totally get that. That's fine. He's like one of the few elements of this season that really feels like it's really calling out on these old conventions, because in other respects, this is somewhat conventional. Again, Audrey was finally exposed, only to Noah. But still, that's finally going somewhere.
Yeah.
Which is great. I was having this conversation with my fiance, who's only been kind of passing in and out of the show. And I said, I have to watch the next episode of Scream because I'm reviewing it. And she said, is it suspenseful this season? And I thought to myself, no. It's mysterious. I'm intrigued as to who the killer might be. I'm actually not feeling that much suspense because, again, the person who's been under threat most of the time has been Audrey, and I'm not sure how much I'm even supposed to like Audrey.
Yeah.
And there really hasn't been that much of an external threat from the only other person who's died was some motel worker.
Exactly.
A tragic death, I'm sure, but we don't know him. We don't have the connection to him.
That's the thing, is the external threat, I think, is purposely eliminated so that we try and get on board with the internal conflicts that seem to be going on. Like in last season, would we imagine Noah be looking through Audrey's phone? No, not really. He's a curious kid. But he seemed to have his intentions of at that time, his only friend at heart. And now it's putting everyone against each other, so much so that we have the sheriff's son getting beaten up by a crowd of people. Why there's apparently officers everywhere, but no one's in the room looking out for someone. I didn't get that. But
yeah, that was dumb. Yeah. I guess, no, that really doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
But then we have the conversation afterwards in which Audrey she's deliberately, I don't know whether she's playing the game, trying to put the blame on other people to try and take the heat off of her, of what people might be thinking, but it's working in a way, because she's trying to deflect the way towards, she's trying to force her friends to take into consideration that someone else may be at fault.
Well, yes, but at the same time, the show plays it like she's genuine, like she's trying to protect her friends from the whole ayahuasca incident. She doesn't seem to have any malevolence.
Yeah.
Towards any of the protectors. The only other, she almost like hit Noah over the head with a thing, but that was a moment of, you could write that off as a moment of panic.
Yeah.
You could write that off as, I have to protect myself, I'm going to go to jail.
Chair for the window moment.
Yeah, exactly. That could be all that is. Again, they really need to clarify just how involved Audrey was. And I hope the next episode, Noah will actually confront her.
I'm sure he will.
They could stretch that out for an episode or two, though. And again, there's
agree.
only like 11 episodes in the season, so we really only have that much real estate to work with.
Yeah.
I know it's too late. They're already all filmed. I really, 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 really hope they don't stretch that out to the end because it's preventing me from getting emotionally connected.
Yeah, the only thing that I like that Noah's the one that found out, right? Because if you think Emma or anyone else finds out, they're going to take into consideration going to the police. But Noah has this personal agenda and has this personal preference towards the way that serial killers think. He tries to think like a serial killer so that he can try and get ahead of the game. So I think that he's going to take it into his own hands more than anything else. But I do have one question. I don't know if it's maybe because I'm currently involved in How to Get Away with Murder, the show with Viola Davis, but is there not some sort of hierarchy that needs to be taken into consideration, the fact that this constant killing is going on and that it may be above the sheriff's watch by now?
Well, they did that in the season 1 where when it would be turned into a serial killer incident, but here's one murder. One murder is theoretically just him, and also it just happened. Like it was today. For all we know, Agent Dale Cooper is currently driving there right now.
He'll get donut in hand and ready to go.
Yeah, they could get into that again soon.
Yeah, that's the only
will
thing
find
I was
out.
wondering out. There's a certain legislation that show that I've been watching puts forward that no one should be allowed to even be questioned without a lawyer present or anything until certain things go forward.
There was this whole thing about like, Brooke, well, you're not going to interrogate Brooke without me there, and I mean, unless she's 18, I think she's still a minor.
Yeah, well, they still are.
If she's a minor, you can't.
Yes, exactly.
Like you literally can't. Like I believe that's illegal.
Yeah, I feel like they were just. I feel like they were far too easily dragging out people from where they wanted. Like, and keeping kids in a lockdown situation, I somewhat understand, but just having people questioned without any lawyer present, that's maybe just being a party pooper. But understanding that they're trying to put forward that they're going with protocol. Like, Brooke can't even shower without getting pictures taken, evidence.
Well, there's evidence, yeah,
exactly. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then she's able to just be questioned, and people are being questioned without any guardian present at all.
When the sheriff takes Emma's mom off the case, I remember thinking to myself, well, yeah. There's this moment where she's just like, how dare you? And I'm just like, well, no, you
just told her information.
This is like one of your daughter's best friends. There's no way you're impartial. There's no way.
One puppy dog look, and you just told her how long the body's been dead for.
Yeah, and I know that seems minor. That's literally not what you're supposed to do. Like
you have one job.
Yeah.
Keep things confidential.
Well, no, she has one job, and that's to like investigate the body and stuff like that. It's her second job. You have two jobs.
You have two jobs, and you can't do either.
Fear and surprise and ruthless efficiency and almost fanatical devotion to the Pope. I'm trying to think if I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff. Emma obviously sees the killer.
Yes.
It is theoretically possible that she's just hallucinating.
That's what I was thinking.
Who puts, this is backtracking, who puts with a Sharpie their name on their phone?
You know what? I thought about that, and we've met Jake. Jake probably will. Like, that's what I was thinking. Like, I know I was exactly in the same thing in my mind. I was like, who does it? Wait, this is the same guy that talked about himself in third person quite a lot.
If maybe my thought was this: they're shooting the scene, and it's like, so Emma her thing rings. It's not her phone, and she picks up another phone. How are we supposed to know whose phone it is? This is a discussion that the filmmakers, storytellers have to have. How are we going to know whose phone it is reasonably easily? And I was like, oh, well, crap. We never made his phone like super distinctive, so it would be really obvious. Screw it. Just write his name on it in a Sharpie. Like, it'll be meta. It'll be weird.
Yeah, or there could be just some guy who's just sitting at the back of the producers' meeting, never contributes anything, just put his name on it. That's the type of guy that would put his name on his phone.
Maybe the killer has stolen a lot of his victim's phone and just put like the name. Jake's phone.
Or maybe you have like a cover that says "Bros Before Hoes" or something like that. That's something Jake would have.
Jake wasn't.
He would have that.
Okay,
okay, I got it.
Okay, so let's go down your list of suspects. So who was your prime suspect last week?
My prime suspect was Emma's dad, who we haven't seen. Who we haven't seen in this episode yet. So we don't. Again, that's typical scenario to play out, that we've got all these people in the one place so that the audience consistently tries to pick who is going to be the killer out of these guys. That's part of their job, but I think they deliberately left him out of the case at the moment or away from the scene because he may be a suspect.
Well, if you'll recall in the original Scream, Nev Campbell's father disappears for most of the movie, and of course he is just a red herring.
Yeah.
So when they talk about how the killer has to be here.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, one of the killers
Yeah.
has to be here. So I guess the dad could be skulking around the high school.
True. Far too obvious play on the sheriff's son at this moment. I genuinely feel bad for the guy. Like, he's just got a weird fetish.
He doesn't have a sense of propriety.
No.
It's like, now is not the time to be coloring in all the blood on your pictures of the. I'm sure you're writing a very good like Lakewood 6 like comic book. I'm sure Vertigo will go for it, but like, yeah, no, not now.
You're not some like poet that just has to channel. I have to channel my thoughts.
Well,
right
and
now
even a poet, you could probably hide it better. This is just big red
picture.
screen.
Very talented, but nonetheless,
Yeah.
I don't know. I still like. Was it your theory that you had the last time that it is actually Emma and she's just going through this?
I think that's something they're going to play with. I think that's something they're going to introduce. I kind of doubt it.
Yeah, I think shock.
I think if they did some weird like multiple personality thing where she doesn't know she's the kid, because honestly that was my first thought when she got her phone and she heard the buzz and then it was her. I thought to myself, oh, went to Emma's phone?
Yeah,
that's creepy, right? That could mean anything. And that's not where, I don't think it's where they're going at all. I think the teacher is still too, I think that all the teachers are too obvious. The teacher who locked her in, the teacher who's the creeper, I think that's unlikely. I'm starting to scan for prominent, really minor characters like the sheriff's deputy.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say that. That could be interesting. Or the girl she's not really. She is kind of prominent. She's the one that fought with Emma.
Yeah.
And had the fight with Audrey at the start. Again, too obvious, but maybe she's got such a fetish with them that she's too involved.
What I think is interesting about her character in that whole subplot is the idea that there are people who are looking up to the Lakewood Six because they're popular.
Yes.
Because they're famous. The idea that, oh, you went through something horrible? Well, crap. I wish I could have done that.
Ding.
Exactly. And then they might be orchestrating the situation to become, what? Oh. We've been hearing the word Lakewood Six over and over and over again.
What if they want to be one of the
new? What if they want to be a new Lakewood Six?
Yeah, I can see
What if
that.
there's 6 of them?
I can see
What if there's a whole bunch? They want to be a new team of survivors and
the new Mean Girls. It could be.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Process.
We'll keep watching Scream. Let us know who you think did it in the comments, and keep on screaming on. Life's a garden. Scream it.